Welcome to our Gracie Interview Series. Today, we have the honor of interviewing a team of brilliant journalists from BYU who had Gracie-winning documentary this year. And we are so happy to have you on here. And most importantly, talking about mentorship and students, as we know that that's one of the really important parts of the Alliance for Women in Media, which has been advancing women in media for more than 70 years. What we do is programming and education. That's what this interview series is. And today we have an opportunity to learn directly from some of those who produced award-winning content. So I'll start by introducing Melissa Gibbs, who is the Director of Journalism News Lab at Brigham Young University School of Communications. She helped shepherd and work directly with three brilliant students that we have with us today. Aubree B. Jennings, who is in the BYU Graduate School and a local journalist at ABC4. We also have Alexa Elliott Johnson, who is also a BYU graduate, and Anna LaTour Youngs, who is also a BYU graduate. Obviously, the three of you had an opportunity to work on this project, which was incredibly powerful and very moving. So we're going to give you a chance to talk about that really quickly. But I'll start with you, Melissa, today. What role do you think mentorship plays in a student's success in media and journalism?
Oh, Becky, that's a great question. I think it plays a huge role. One of the things I love about my job is being able to show students what they're capable of. And we have a wonderful news lab at Brigham Young University where the students come in and they actually work in a real world setting. So it functions much like a newsroom in the professional world. And so the students are given deadlines, they work under pressure, they feel a little bit of that stress, but they get to be creative in the work they do. It helps them become passionate about the stories they tell. But the other thing that it does is we have mentors in our lab who are professional journalists who worked in the industry for decades. We also have professors with PhDs that work in our school, and some of them have a couple years of professional experience. But as mentors, we help guide them to show them how things work in journalism and, all the things they need to do from writing and video editing and, ethics and all of those things. But also we put them in the hot seat. We put them in the hot seat and they get to go out and they get to interview people in the community, people on campus. They get to write stories, tell stories, shoot stories, and they get to, help be a voice for those in the community. And what we see happen in the lab is that students recognize, oh, this is something that I can do. I'm capable of doing this. This isn't, a far off dream that I have. It's something that I have talents and they can develop their talents in the lab. But I think a lot of it is just being there for the students and helping them through difficult times, because when you're learning to be a journalist, you do encounter a lot of adversity. I think it helps our students develop a lot of resilience. And students, through that development of resilience, learn to do difficult things. But also through that, they develop strength and character and confidence, which helps them to just become better journalists. And I think that's the main part of it, is just helping them see that although they might be doing something difficult and hard, they are extremely capable of doing it. And we have such talented students at our school, so bright, so tenacious, so determined, that they, take the challenges that are set before them. And with the help of the mentors in the lab and through that encouragement, they produce really wonderful content like you've seen with this documentary that we did in Maui, Hope for Lahaina.
That's wonderful. Well, obviously BYU is very committed to students. And so to our students, so to Anna, Aubree, and Alexa, let us know, what did it feel like when you got the news that you had won a Gracie for this piece?
It was thrilling and very meaningful for us to get this news because going through the process, our documentary was focused on the people of Lahaina who had suffered from a wildfire. And it was such a meaningful experience to tell their story. And so to have recognition of this specific documentary that was so meaningful and important to raise awareness for what they've been going through, it just was thrilling and very exciting to receive the news about the Gracies.
Anna or Aubree?
I'll add to that. I feel like the news of receiving the Gracies was unexpected for me personally. I didn't expect something like this to come of our documentary. It was the first time that I was speaking myself, first time I had ever worked on a project like this. And so it's so exciting to see that recognition. And also, I feel like the experience of the Gracies itself was so empowering. I don't think I've ever seen that many women in a room together, just all celebrating each other. And it was really an empowering experience. And I felt even more proud of my project after I had been to the Gracies than I did before.
I was super excited. Going back to what Melissa said about, she mentioned that as a mentor, she puts us in the hot seat and she helps us realize what we can achieve. And winning the Gracies, I felt like our work paid off all through all the hard times, the long hours. It made me think about our documentary in the women's perspective, the women in journalism, the women we interviewed. And it also made me so grateful for the men who also helped us in front of the cameras and behind the cameras to make this all possible. But I grew a special appreciation for the women we interviewed, and attending the luncheon gave me an appreciation of the women in journalism. Just like Aubree said, the energy there was fire.
I love that. And I love that you all got to experience it. We hear regularly about there's no experience like being in the room at a Gracie Awards because of the celebration and connecting each other. And appreciate you, Anna, also talking about the men, both in front of and behind the camera who supported you. That's really important to us also. And so, Melissa, you've talked a little bit about this already, about, being in the hot seat, which I love, getting some of those real life experiences. So give us some more examples of opportunities that you provide students to gain real world experience.
We have a fabulous program, an amazing school, and a wonderful college that is very supportive of the student experience. And also our university. Our university president wants students to have experiential learning experiences where they go out into the world. Here at Brigham Young University, one of our unofficial mottos is the world is our campus. And so what we like to do with our students is once they have gone through the program and they go into their capstone, they get an opportunity to go do a project. And for students that are in the video reporting side of things or the video storytelling side of things, they get opportunities to go work on a documentary. And that's what these students did. So we brainstorm ideas and talk about what's happening in the world and things that are important to cover. And then we decide what we're going to do. And, we do what all the professionals do. When you go to cover a story, we do all the planning behind the scenes. We do all the field producing. We get all of our interviews set up. We go work in the field. And, these students that worked on this project, Alexa, Anna, and Aubree, I call them the A team. Their names all start with A, but they really are like the A team. They were amazing in what they did. And there was another student as well, Trevor Myers, who worked on this project, and he was fabulous as well. And they just worked wonderfully together, cohesively, but hardworking students who just really took the opportunity that they were provided and embraced it. These women got up early in the morning, worked till late at night, missed meals during that. I mean, it was a grind while we were in the field, but we all learned so much while we were there, and it was great. But I'm so thankful to our college and our sequence and our university and the leaders that we have. We also have amazing donors here at BYU who donate money to be able to provide these students with these opportunities. Actually, when Alexa, Aubree, and Anna participated in the telling of this documentary, they just paid their tuition for the semester. And the documentary project was mostly funded by the university and donors. So their airfare was covered, their transportation was covered, their hotels were covered, some of the meals, some of the locations that we went to that we had to pay to get into were covered by those funds that were provided to the university. And I think it's a great symbiotic relationship, honestly, because we are given these, what we consider sacred funds, money that people have given to us willingly to go do good in the world. And so it's really important to us that we tell stories that are important, that have meaning, that can change people's lives, that can help people. And I feel like with this project in particular, in Maui after the wildfires, the students did an excellent job of doing that. We had a premiere for our documentary once it was completed, and we held that here on campus in our university theater. And after that was shown, we had multiple people coming up asking, what can we do to help? How can we help? And we were actually able to connect people that had, knowledge in, water and electrical and infrastructure, that were reaching out through families to people in Lahaina to help them rebuild, which for me was really fulfilling. And I know that the students saw this too, but to be a part of something that truly can help people that are in need of help was an amazing experience. And I'm so thankful to our college, our school, our university for, really emphasizing those mentored experiential learning experiences and making sure that our President Reese of the university, he wants every student at Brigham Young University, not just in the journalism program, but in whatever program they may be at BYU, he wants them all to have 2 experiential learning opportunities before they graduate, which I think just prepares students so much better for the world when they enter it with their job or their profession.
That's amazing. And, you talked about this, Melissa, that, it's about storytelling. And we say a lot that the Gracie Awards is truly celebrating storytellers. Certainly you all are experts in that world. And then in addition to storytellers are stories that have impact. So clearly this story had direct impact with people being able to take a next step. So congrats to you all. So to our students, you obviously have an opportunity on the regular when you were undergrads to go find the story, as Melissa said. So give us an example of an opportunity when you found a great story in an unexpected place.
Well, the times when I found a great story, well, actually there's a lot of great stories, in unexpected places were the times that I took the time to peel back the layers of the people I interacted with. Stories are all around us, and it takes courage, like that of a journalist, to ask questions and help others recognize their own story. And it doesn't take much. You don't need to peel back so much. One layer is enough sometimes. And I find it easier to do this when I'm also allowed to open up. So, if you want a specific example, one specific example was I have a passion in learning about my heritage, my Asian American heritage. I interviewed the owner of the Golden Gate Fortune Cookie Factory in San Francisco, in Chinatown, the only fortune cookie factory. And that was amazing to share our background, our similar backgrounds, in that we're both immigrants. I'm first generation, but and it was amazing to do that. And it just took one email to be like, I visited your factory, I enjoyed it. Can I interview you for my school? And if I didn't have that courage to do that, to be vulnerable myself, it would have never happened.
Good for you. I love the word courage to do something like that. Alexa?
So for me, it's been interesting to look back and see the incredible mentorship of Melissa and the other staff and faculty at BYU. I had experience for one semester where we were all assigned specific beats to cover, and I was covering education. And there was just a simple story I was going to do that was focused on a city council meeting that was regarding an educational policy. And it was interesting because I realized in that meeting that something was amiss. There had been some errors on the city council's part. And it was a very complex policy issue that people were getting very passionate about in the community. And so I approached Melissa and said, I think something different happened at the city council meeting, and I think we need to report about it. And she was so empowering and encouraging in helping me pursue this and make sure that both sides were accurately represented and that we dove into the records of that meeting and every little piece of information that we could get, interviewing city council members in the community, and ended up being this big story that was impactful in the issue at the time. And I remember that there was even some pushback from different people because it's a complex issue. And Melissa helping me have the courage to still pursue the story and be able to report on what was meaningful at that time. And so I was very grateful for the mentorship and empowerment of Melissa.
True journalism. All of you are displaying that. Aubree, anything from you?
Yeah, I actually had an experience recently where I was invited by a state agency to go on a boat tour of the Great Salt Lake. And the Great Salt Lake is a really interesting story that I will not be getting into today, but it's it's been decreasing. There's some issues with the soil that people are worried, as we lose our water, we'll be exposed. So I thought, I'll go, I'll learn, I'll take pictures. And I didn't expect too much to come from it. We've covered it extensively already. But what I learned, there ended up going on the boat tour with duck hunters. And there were a bunch of duck hunters who took us around on their duck boats. I don't know, that's not what they're called, but that's what I'm calling them. And I ended up learning about the history and how duck hunters 100 years ago saved the wetlands of the Great Salt Lake at a time when people were draining them all across the United States. And so it ended up being this bigger story that I didn't see initially going into it. And I thought it was really cool, kind of like diving into this. I would have never, ever learned anything about that had I not been there personally and speaking with the duck hunters and the officials and all the people and being in their space and in their homes. So I felt like that was kind of a cool experience for me.
Good for you. Obviously, Melissa, the push to dig and use their own insight is working. So we have limited time, but what I would love is for each of you from your perspective, and Melissa, we'll start with you. What advice would you give students who are unsure or looking to seek a career in journalism? And then Anna, Alexa, and Aubree, I would love for each of you to quickly give other students advice when they're looking at pursuing the same career. Melissa, we'll start with you.
My advice would be to hang in there. When times get tough, just keep going. The skills that journalists learn are so ubiquitous throughout so many industries. I mean, we have students that, start out their careers as journalists, but then end up going to become attorneys, become PR agents. They work in marketing. They do social media. They do communications for government agencies. I mean, the skills that journalists have are so applicable in so many spaces, in so many different jobs. And those are skills that are needed, not just in journalism, but in other organizations and areas as well. So I just say, trust your gut. Stick with it. And like these students have said, I think that these students, I love them all so much. They are just, as I get emotional, I'm sorry. They are just such strong women, intelligent, confident, wonderful examples. They were like the cream of the crop of their cohort, and they were great examples to their fellow students. And I'm just so proud of everything they've done. And it's because they did those things. They trusted their gut, they stuck through the hard times, and they just persevered. And now they're moving on in their lives using all the skills that they've used in journalism to do that and so much more.
With many thanks to your mentorship, for sure, Melissa. Aubree, what advice would you give students?
I would say that you are good enough. That's something I've really struggled with throughout the program. Every new class I went through, I said, like to myself, I was like, yeah, I can't do this anymore. I don't have it. I'm not cut out to be a journalist. I don't have the courage. I don't have the strength, the bravery, all of these things. And it's not true. You are good enough. Anyone can do it if you just keep going through and if you just want to. You can do it. And so that's my biggest piece of advice, is that you can do it.
Excellent. Alexa.
My advice would be to stay curious and have the grit to keep going when it gets hard. Journalism is an incredible opportunity to be an impact storyteller, to learn about issues that are going around the world and in your own community. And it's an incredible gift to be able to meet with people, to be able to learn their stories, and be able to report it in a way that's accurate and helps people better understand what's going on. And so if journalism is something that's interesting to someone, they should absolutely explore it and really take the time to get the facts, to understand the context, and they'll be able to make a difference more than they know.
Wise. Anna.
I like to bounce back off of Melissa and how she said to push through when it gets hard, because it does. I feel like journalism gets a bad rap. Like I just read a little social media post from US Today saying, oh, the most regrettable majors. Top one was probably communications. I didn't like seeing that up there, but you'd see statistics like that all the time. And you get people in the program perhaps doubting. But I'd say maybe doubt your doubts. Don't listen to the fear. Don't listen to what other people say. Follow your passion, but also put in the work. And like Melissa said, I disagree with the statistics out there. This major will give you the skills to basically change your career if you want. You can go into law school or whatever, or marketing. You know, communicating is, goodness gracious, it's something that we humans have done since we were eons ago, right? It's important. We need communicators. And like what Alexa said, we need people who are curious and stay curious and learn. And in Aubree, you know, we need people who have dreams of making it to the top, you know? So that's my advice. Okay.
So smart. Well, you're exactly right, Anna. But it does take people with courage and curiosity to do the tough jobs like in communication and journalism. And what I would say is the future is very bright. I think Melissa would agree with the A team here. The future of journalism is very bright with you all at the helm. And so congratulations again on winning a Gracie Award. Your content earned it, and you did outstanding storytelling. And Melissa, with many thanks to you from the leadership of the Alliance for Women in Media for the work that you're doing and pouring into students and the next generation. It is critically important in order to keep strong journalism alive, and you are helping to do that. And at this day and time, we know how important that is. So I want to thank everyone for listening in on this version of our Gracie Interview Series. Stay tuned for more. Stay connected to AWM. Please join. Listen in on other Gracie Interview Series, our AWM Media Masterclass. We are here for you, for the media community, to listen and learn and stay connected. Thank you very much.